Hey you guys, welcome to another one of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be officially updating you guys on some more current and latest news. So interesting news coming out of the media. This is regarding Toby Alderweireld, who reportedly Manchester United are linked with and who to go for in the January transfer window. But reportedly, Toby Alderweireld has come out and give Manchester United fans quite a lot of excitement, going ahead into the January transfer window, because he has liked to tweet on social media as Toby Alderweireld, so that could stir suggestions up that he could be coming to Manchester United, because reportedly Man United fans have been putting MUFC should sign him, and reportedly on social media he has tweeted as Toby Alderweireld, and he has dropped a hint, and he actually likes the tweet. Does Toby Alderweireld, because reportedly Manchester United have been linked to him. Mourinho's obviously wants to strengthen up defensively, because we could see some defenders go. We've got a lot of injury problems defensively, as we all know, such as Lindelof's out, Rojo's out, as we all know. Bailly's out of favour at the club. Tuanzebe and Fossil-Mensah are out on loan. Doyle's injured, so we've got a lot of problems defensively. Smalling's injured as well, so we have got a lot of problems defensively. Do you think Toby Alderweireld would be the right man to come in at Manchester United? To be quite fair, I think he's been on the decline for the last 12 months. I think he can potentially be a world-class centre-back. I think Toby Alderweireld has lost the pace at the moment, in my respective opinion. He is a lot better out there than we can get than Toby Alderweireld. Koulibaly'd be better. Even Milan Skriniar would potentially be better. Toby Alderweireld, but when he's potentially on good form, Tottenham do obviously wouldn't want to lose him. Tottenham still have good options. Defense on their defensive line. They've still got Vertonghen. They've got Davinson Sanchez as well. Pochettino's only spent like £50 million since 2014, as we all know. But you think Toby Alderweireld, he is Premier League proven, as we all know. It wouldn't be one of my first choice signings, because I did say he has some reservations about his game. He has lost the pace a little bit, and he is aging up now. So if we were potentially to go on and get Toby Alderweireld in the January transfer window for around £40 million, obviously I think we'd only get a couple of years out of him, because now he is, what is he now, 30 years old, Toby Alderweireld, 29, 30 years old, potentially. But reportedly he said one of Man United's main priority targets. Man United were willing to put £40 million for him in the January transfer window, reportedly. We know he's available for £25 million next summer. There's been no signs that he's going to sign a new deal with Tottenham Hotspur, as I said, but Man United were in talks last summer, but Tottenham were demanding in the region of around £60 million. Man United were reluctant to pay up to £60 million for Toby Alderweireld, but he can play as a centre-back. You can also put him at full-back as well, Toby Alderweireld, but he's been linked with a move to Manchester United. So he has liked this tweet on social media, as I said, but he has reservations about his game. He's lost the pace a little bit, hasn't been to his potential best, this season. But Tottenham wouldn't want to lose him, but obviously £40 million is a tempting offer. I think Man United would be prepared to pay £40 million. He's Premier League proven, he's an ex-Ajax, he's an ex-Atletico Madrid, an ex-Southampton player, so he's been in the Premier League a good 5 years or so now as Toby Alderweireld. As I said, and we have done deals with Tottenham in the past. Mourinho discussed how reluctant Tottenham are to sanction their best players off, but £40 million would change their stance, and I think they would consider sanctioning Toby Alderweireld off, cashing in some money for him as well. And potentially they may want to spend money in January, Tottenham, because they've only spent £50 million since 2014, since Pochettino took over as well. But I think there's a lot better than Toby Alderweireld, because Mourinho's confirmed, I think he's going to get rid of Bailly and Rojo. Valencia could be on his way out as well in January, as he updated you earlier on. Smalling may not be here next season. He's currently injured at the moment. Maybe even Rojo, as I said, won't be here. So we've got to find these replacements. As I said, and Koulibaly's another player who's potentially a lot better than Toby Alderweireld. Very little weaknesses in his game. I think he's very good on the ball. He's strong. He's physically very strong. Good in the air. He's age 27, so he's like 2.5 years, 3 years younger than Toby Alderweireld. So potentially we would get longer out of him. He's a better, strong central defender, proving himself fantastically well with Napoli. Technically very good on the ball as well, and he works fantastically well defensively. Does Koulibaly. And I know it would cost us in the region of around £90 million sterling to persuade Napoli of doing any business with us. I know Toby Alderweireld 40 million, so that's like 50 odd million pound cheaper. But obviously he's younger, he's Koulibaly, he's a better central defender. I know he's never played in the Premier League, but you know, who knows? He could come to the Premier League and become a flop, but according to his stats and that, he's a very, very good physical, strong defender. Reads his game very, very well as well, Koulibaly. So, potentially, I think he'd, you know, complement our defensive line fantastically well. If you put him alongside E, who's obviously linked to a move away from United, or you put him alongside Lindelof, I think he'd do a fantastic job. His composure is very, very good. He's good in the air. And, you know, if Man United were to put the deal for him in January, it would cost us a staggering £90 million. You know, he's under contract with Napoli to 2023, as we all currently know, as Koulibaly. Reportedly, Manchester United have been in discussions. Reportedly, Man United have had 2 bids turned down for the player. They've had 2 bids turned down for the player. Ed Woodward has been in discussions with the Napoli officials, but reportedly the Napoli president is actually not keen on selling Koulibaly. As I said, you know, he's made, 29 appearances with Senegal, you know, recently been named African Footballer of the Year as well. As a Koulibaly. So I think potentially he would dramatically improve us very, very well. Every area of his game he adapts fantastically well. And he's a good out-and-out defender, as I said. But, you know, like Toby Alderweireld, as I said, you know, he's lost the pace a little bit. He is aging up now, as we all know. I think he's 29. He may be nearly 30. He's either 29 or 30. But he's losing the pace. But, we saw it when we had Vidic and Ferdinand, you know, under Alex Ferguson, you know, we had them as centre-back partnerships. They were really, really good, but they began losing their pace because they do, you know, when they're getting older and aging up. And Toby Alderweireld is losing the pace. You know, he can still be a world-class central defender. Sorry about that. He still can be a world-class central defender, Toby Alderweireld, so he still can be world-class. So Koulibaly with me would be absolutely phenomenal. Liverpool's obviously most expensive. The most expensive defender at the moment is Liverpool's Virgil van Dijk, and look how they address their defensive problems, and they've dramatically improved defensively of Liverpool. But Man United also linked with the likes of Milan Skriniar. He's a good player as well. He's a lot younger than Koulibaly and Toby Alderweireld is Milan Skriniar. He plays for Inter Milan. He's pretty good, to be quite fair, Milan Skriniar. Would you take him over Toby Alderweireld, Milan Skriniar? There's a few teams being interested in him. Reportedly, he's rated at around £75 million, is Milan Skriniar. I think he's still got 3 or 4 years left on his deal with Inter Milan, but, you know, it'd be beneficial to, you know, for Man United to go in and get a young, you know, defender, you know, when he's got a years ahead of him to grow and develop more. And Milan Skriniar has got that because he's only a 22, 23 year old Milan Skriniar. You know, you can put him at centre back, you can put him in a defensive midfielder, as a central defensive midfielder. As well, Milan Skriniar. Inter Milan paid £20 million for him from Sampdoria, of course. But reportedly, Man United have reportedly been interested in him as well. But out of them, you know, these central defenders were linked to Marino's also been linked to Jerome Boateng and Harry Maguire. But the top list one I choose would be Koulibaly. I know it's going to cost us a hell of a lot of money to get him, but he's a highly experienced central defender. And, you know, he's got a lot of tenacity about his game as well. I'd really, really love Koulibaly to come to Manchester United. Alderweireld, as I said, has reservations about his game. He's losing the pace a little bit with Tottenham. He's a bit on the decline at the moment. And I do have concerns about him, but when he's potentially in good form, you know, Toby Alderweireld can read his game well, and he can be a world-class central defender because he is a great defender. He's one of the best in the Premier League, you know, when he's fully on form, Toby Alderweireld. And, you know, he's been a full international, you know, since 2009 as a Toby Alderweireld, of course. But obviously, you know, Mourinho's linked with a lot of central defenders, of course, you know, because we've got problems defensively. That needs addressing because we've been conceding far too many goals this season as well. And we know the pressure has been on Jose Mourinho. Reportedly, he's going to get this £100 million spending spree in January, of course. But I just don't think he has the right philosophy for Manchester United. This is his 3rd season. You know, since Alex Ferguson's retirement in 2013, how many trophies have we won? We won the FA Cup under Louis van Gaal. We won the League Cup under Mourinho in his 1st season, the Europa League, Community Shield. So 3 trophies or 4 if you want to count the Community Shield. And it's not good enough because Mourinho's not met the expectation levels, you know, since he's come to the club, as we all know. His task was to get us back competing and challenging for major honours, you know, which Jose Mourinho has basically failed to materialise, which he hasn't done. And potentially, I think it's time for the board of new owners to think about recommending a new man into the job, whether it be Zinedine Zidane or Mauricio Pochettino, of course. I think it's time for the board to think about recommending a new man at Manchester United, where Pochettino, Zinedine Zidane, a manager's going to have that winning stature to command us in that position, have more of an attacking approach than Jose Mourinho, suit the strappings of the club, because Mourinho doesn't suit the strappings of the club. And I credit Mourinho of what he's achieved in the past, because he's won titles everywhere he's been as Jose Mourinho, but he isn't doing it at Manchester United. For me, he doesn't know his best 11. People have questioned about his team selection and his tactics that are not wrong as well. And so yeah, he has reports about him leaving. George Mendes has dispelled the myth. His current representative saying he's staying at the club. He's happy at the club. Mourinho said he wasn't taking much notice of this anywhere. But there has been a chance of Jose Mourinho leaving. He spent over £400 million on 11 players since he's come to the club. These majority of these players, he's bought, haven't really made an impact at the club. Like I said, if we sign Koulibaly in January, regardless of what Mourinho out, but he'd be a dramatic signing. He'd be first major top signing we'd signed in a while, because the players we've signed under Mourinho mainly haven't been as main priority targets. So we haven't been aggressive enough in these windows, especially under Mourinho. Mourinho said he was frustrated with a lack of transfer activity as well. But, I think his last major signing was Juan Mata back in 2014. The one before that, Robin Van Persie, because he scored 30 goals in that season when we won his last league title, under Alex Ferguson as well. He were great. And potentially, Manchester United just not the same. And this team is not the replica. This team is not reflecting of what team Alex Ferguson, what the team achieved under Alex Ferguson, and what Alex Ferguson achieved. It just hasn't been the same. It hasn't worked out in the managerial eras. We've spent £1 billion in all the managerial eras. I know we've seen players go, but it totals up to over £1 billion that Manchester United have spent on players. The expensive one, obviously, of course, Paul Pogba for £89 million. But obviously, we know Mourinho's had a lot of disputes with the top players, since he's come to the club. As we all currently know, he's had disputes with the top players, as we all know. And we've still got a lot of players, coming to the end of the deals that the board and the owners need to focus on, because we're sitting 6th in the league. We're 8 points behind top 4. We're 16 behind top. We could be 19 points behind if we lose to Liverpool tomorrow. As I said, so it's potentially, I think it's time to recommend a new Manning to come in to see, if he can build a platform, get the right players in, get rid of the players that he doesn't think is good enough, as I said. But I think it's time for a change, as I said, into the team. But it's time for the change, and Zinedine Zidane I think would be fantastic for us. As I said, there's some people persuading him to come and manage in the Premier League, which Zinedine Zidane's never done in the Premier League. Of course, he's managed at Real Madrid, and he's played for Real Madrid and Juventus. That was in his playing career, and he's won individual awards. He's won quite a lot of silverware as Zinedine Zidane, as we all know. Do you think the board would accept, Zinedine Zidane to come and manage at Manchester United? I think he'd have a different style of approach to the club than Jose Mourinho. I think he'd have more of an attacking approach, because he did a good job at Real Madrid, but he's never ever played in the Premier League or managed in the Premier League as Zinedine Zidane. But potentially has had discussions with his representatives in the past about coming to manage in English football as Zinedine Zidane. But Manchester United have been linked with him as well. There has been discussions about that as well, for him to potentially replace Mourinho. Obviously, Real Madrid for me are the same exact team since Zinedine Zidane left, because obviously Real Madrid lost Ronaldo as well. Real Madrid basically was built all around Ronaldo, basically, and Casemiro as well. But as I said, there's been talks of Pochettino coming in. He's Premier League proven. He's been in the Premier League 7 years. Done very, very well with Tottenham Hotspur. His first 2 seasons got them third and second, didn't he? Pochettino, and he's done a very, very good job. Hasn't spent a lot of money. He's only spent 50 million since 2014. There has been rumours of him coming to Manchester United. Do you think he'd fit the Manchester United agenda well? We were linked with him a couple of years ago, Pochettino, but Manchester United, of course, in the region never got him. Reportedly, the Sun were the first to report it that Man U would have to pay up to £40 million to get Pochettino at the end of the season, of course. Obviously, if Mourinho gets sacked at the end of the season, obviously we're going to have to pay him off, because his current contract ends in 2020 with Man United. But it would cost us less to sack him if we fail top 4. Mourinho was discussing about top 4 quite a few weeks ago. He says he wants the top 4 by the end of the year. He says we need a good run of games. But yeah, there's been rumours about Zinedine Pochettino coming in. You know, he's been manager since 2009. You know, he played 18 years in his career, as well as playing career. You know, played for Espanyol, played for Bordeaux and Paris Saint-Germain, played for New Old Boys. You know, and since he's been manager, he's managed, you know, Espanyol for a good 3 years or so. You know, managed Southampton, and now he's managing Tottenham. So he's proven in the Premier League. He's got a 5-year deal with Tottenham Hotspur as well. So Man United have reportedly been linked with him as well. But I just don't want Jose Mourinho at this club, as I currently said. And as I said, we've got a lot of players coming to end their deals. There's players out of favour now at Manchester United, you know, that could potentially leave the club. But yeah, I think we're in desperate need, you know, potentially. If we did get Koulibaly, it'd be a great signing for us. It'd be the first major signing we'd made in a while, because Lukaku's been poor this season. He's failed to replicate the form that he did in his first season with 27 goals. 27 goals. He's proven in the Premier League very well. He did very well with Everton. He wasn't a regular in his first season with Chelsea, of course, Romelu Lukaku. So I'm concerned about him this season. I know he's had a few injuries this season, but his first touch concerns me. He's too slow on the ball. He's no pace, and we've got a midfield as well, potentially for me, without Paul Pogba especially, and Pogba's not on form at the moment anyway. He was awful Wednesday night. We've got an imbalanced midfield as well, you know, especially when Paul Pogba's not there. I think we do need a defensive midfielder, in my personal opinion, because Matic and Fellaini are both too slow. They're both aging up, and they have no tempo to the play whatsoever, the Matic and Fellaini. Of course, so I think we need to search for another defensive midfielder. Sanchez obviously was injured till January, hasn't delivered the goods since he's come to United. As I said, Sanchez has not done out. He's been here nearly 12 months. There has been reports that he could leave Manchester United, Alexis Sanchez. He hasn't delivered the goods. But I think potentially the players that Mourinho's bought have failed to make the impact. You know, I think the best players for us this season have been potentially Marcus Rashford. He's been a Manchester United player since the age of 7, under contract till 2020. Martial, when he's been fully fit, he's missed the last 2 games. I don't know if he's going to be fully fit for tomorrow against Liverpool. I hope he is. But Rashford has got a good pedigree scoring on his debut, and he's a good young player, fantastic pace, and he's, you know, with his pace, he can cause defenders problems, you know, when he's on form. And lately he's been providing assists and scoring goals, as Marcus Rashford. Being a Man United player since the age of 7, you know, risen up the youth academy very well. But yeah, Marcus Rashford, as I said, Mourinho confirmed that Rashford, Lingard and Ashley Young will be starting tomorrow. This is what Mourinho confirmed. So he confirmed that 3 players will be starting tomorrow. I think Jesse Lingard's a very good young player. You know, some people call him like that. He's a squad player, Jesse Lingard. He's young. I think he can play well, you know, when he does. You know, he proved his point, you know, very well against Arsenal scoring. I thought he had a good game against Arsenal. Had a good game when he came on against Valencia Wednesday night as well. You know, he fastened the movement up a bit. You know, Rashford did as well. But yeah, and also, you know, we've got a future player coming up. He's rising up the ranks. He's doing very well in the academy. He's Mason Greenwood. Oh, he's a great player. I've been watching him in the academy. He looks a great young player. Does Mason Greenwood. Obviously made the trip with you know, with the squad, you know, Wednesday night against Valencia as well. So he's an upcoming future as well. He's Mason Greenwood. What I've been watching of him. But yeah, as I said, Matic is a flop at the club. I said I had concerns when he came. I thought at the moment, the brilliance of Mourinho in his first season, you know, when we did sign him last year, I thought Mourinho's going to get him good, Nemanja Matic. But he's a flop at Manchester United. He's too slow. He wasn't even our number 1 choice at the time. You know, we had so much better options out there that we could have got than Nemanja Matic, as I said, in that midfield. And, you know, we paid £40 million for him. Chelsea didn't want him anywhere. So he wasn't a major sign because he was like our 3rd choice midfielder, you know, that we potentially got. It wasn't our priority target. He's failed to make an impact. As I said, Paul Pogba is struggling at the club as well. You know, there's been rumours about him potentially making a return to Juventus, and Juventus are willing to put around £72 million in for him in the January transfer window, because he had 4 or 5 good years with Juventus, did Paul Pogba. But he hasn't delivered the goods at Manchester United. I know he's still got huge talent, but Mourinho's confirmed he will be dropped for Liverpool, according to the press. He didn't impress Mourinho against Valencia on Wednesday night, so potentially he will be dropped. as well. Well, Pogba is confirmed. Valencia will be dropped, and Phil Jones will be dropped as well for the Liverpool game tomorrow. But Pogba, yeah, you can tell there's a difference in our midfield without him there. When he's on form, Pogba, when he's on great form, he's like two players in one in that midfield. But he's dramatically, Paul Pogba, not good enough. Not good enough for United, in my opinion. We paid £89 million for him in 2016, as I said. So there has been rumours about him potentially making a return to Juventus as well, as I said. But Mourinho came out in his press conference saying we have to fight for the victory. He did say as well, compounding, he said about Liverpool, how much money they've spent on the squad. He said, well, money's not everything. He said it's when he's made, on his press conference, he mentioned about a house. Something when you get a house, you don't just buy the furniture, you do work and that. And this is what Mourinho said. He admitted Liverpool are on a high, they are the leaders. And he says Man United are going to do the best as they can to try and get a victory over at Anfield. This is what Mourinho had said. He says we've still got great quality and potential in the team. This is what Mourinho said in his press conference. Because we know at Anfield we have part of the bus in the last couple of years. Anfield, as I said, Klopp has actually admitted Mourinho's never lacked ambition. Jurgen Klopp did admit this as well. And Jose Mourinho said he has, I think he said something like Man United has never built in my image, has never built in my image or something like that. Jose Mourinho also said as well. But people have been criticising his team tactics and everything, his team selection. For me, he doesn't know his best 11. Early on in the season, he parked the bus against Manchester City, as we all currently know, did Jose Mourinho. And potentially, we've got to win this game on Sunday. Potentially, I can't see us doing it. It's the biggest game in English football, the two most successful clubs historically. And he did say as well, Jose Mourinho, that trophies matter. He said that as well because Liverpool haven't won a trophy, I don't think, for a while. I can't remember the last time they won a trophy. They've never won the Premier League since it got founded in 1993, as we all currently know. And I think they've got a great chance this season. This is a different Liverpool side now. Klopp spent quite a bit of money on that Liverpool team, and they have got good players in that squad of Liverpool. So yeah, we haven't lost to them in 8 games. Liverpool, don't forget, we haven't lost to them in 8 matches. Marcus Rashford had a say. He said Mourinho's a winner. Marcus Rashford said he wants to win the game. As he currently said, because I was watching a bit of MUTV last night, a bit of build-up going into the game, and we haven't lost to them in 8 meetings. We beat them 2-1 at Old Trafford last season. Rashford scored twice. We haven't lost to them in the league since 2014, as I said, when they had Brendan Rodgers and we had David Moyes. We haven't lost to them in the league since 2014. Last time we won back-to-back games against them was back in January 2016, so quite a few years ago now. And we've recently not been bad at Anfield. We've had decent victories at Anfield over the last couple of years. I know the last 2 league visits have been 0-0, but I meant before that. We beat them 4 times on the trot in the league under Louis van Gaal as well, and that potentially wasn't a good array as well. But it's going to be a great game tomorrow. Manchester United have got to go get the win. Can't go there parking the bus as Mourinho's done in the last 2 visits. As I say, even if we win, it will give us confidence, to go on maybe a winning streak. But obviously, we know Manchester United are quite a few years off the league as well, as we all know, quite a few years off the league. Do I think we're going to get top 4 this season? Nah, I don't think Manchester United are going to get top 4 this season, and that's just my own perspective opinion. But saying about the Toby Alderweireld situation, reportedly he's dropped a like on social media and he's tweeted out that he likes it. He's put a like on social media and he's tweeted it, so that could be his stirring up suggestions that he may want to make the move to Old Trafford in January. Toby Alderweireld. It'd be still a good signing. He wouldn't be my number 1 priority target signing if it was me. He wouldn't be my number 1 because he has reservations about his game. Potentially hasn't been his best this season. Toby Alderweireld didn't really have a good game against Barcelona, even though that was a great point for Tottenham Hotspur. So we know he'd cost us a lot cheaper than, Koulibaly would. Toby Alderweireld would cost us around 40 million. If we was to wait till next summer, he'd cost 25 million. But I think Man United desperately need, signings. I think, Man United desperately need signings in the January transfer window. Of course, but, we'll see. what happens about that as well. We're still, as I keep saying, we've got a lot of players, coming to end the deals. We've got potentially Juan Mata. I hope he signs a new deal at United. He was the last major signing we got. He's been very, very consistent since he's been in the Premier League. Hasn't been a regular starter under Jose Mourinho, of course, this season. Juan Mata, as we all currently know, hasn't been a regular starter, but you can play him on the right, you can play as an attacking midfielder. Reportedly, he did say actually Real Madrid were interested in him in the press the other week as well. But he's won everything in the Premier League, of course, apart from the Premier League. Juan Mata has actually never, ever, ever won the Premier League, as we all know, but he's won everything else. He's been in the Premier League a good 7-8 years now. He's obviously an ex-Valencia player. He actually used to work with Unai Emery at Valencia, did Juan Mata. He's 4 years and he's an ex-Real Madrid player because he's up their youth system with Real Madrid. Did Juan Mata. But a very, very good player. I hope Man United somewhere along the line can sign him a new deal at the club as well, Juan Mata. So we'll have to see what happens. But reportedly Real Madrid have showed an interest in as well. Same with Herrera. Man United, been in talks of trying to secure him a new deal. I think, to be fair to Herrera, he's been pretty impressive this season under Herrera. Early on the season making substitute appearances, but recently in the league, he has been starting as well as under Herrera, as we all know. I think Luke Shaw will be playing tomorrow maybe, because now, according to what I've seen, he's no longer injured. So obviously that's Mourinho's most essential left back. Well, this season he mainly plays him in that left back position. Luke Shaw, as we all know, but got a lot of problems defensively, as we all currently know. As he updated you earlier on about the Valencia news, Valencia could be on his way out of Manchester United, reportedly. After reportedly, he thinks he's going to struggle to win. He's going to struggle to win back Mourinho's trust, Antonio Valencia. Obviously, he's not going to be guaranteed a regular start now. He is age 33, so he's slowly coming to an end of his career. Maybe in a year or two he will do. Reportedly, West Ham and a few Spanish clubs have been interested in Valencia. His agent, his representative, have been discussions about Valencia's future at Man United, but reportedly he could be on his way out. Reportedly, as it's confirmed, I think Valencia does want to leave because he had disputes with Jose Mourinho back in the Valencia game at Old Trafford in the group stage earlier on in the season. He had disputes with Mourinho. He had a fallout with Mourinho, as I said. So reportedly, Man United did have the option to extend his contract by a further year at the club. But obviously Mourinho's main essential right back is Ashley Young, as we all currently know, guys, in the current process. He mainly puts him there. Last couple of games he's been at left back as Ashley Young as well. But potentially Lukaku's struggling for consistency. I think he needs still more game time trying to get his consistency back up. But he's a big game ball. His first touch is worth. He's been in senior football, don't forget, Lukaku, since the age of 16. The age of 16, he scored, 45 goals for Belgium. He did cost Man United in the region of, 75, 90 million pounds. Romelu Lukaku, but obviously he isn't delivering the goods at Manchester United, as we all know. But the news about Valencia, he could be on his way out as well. Ashley Young's aging up now, so he'll be coming, Man United have been talking securing him a 1-year deal, so he'll be coming to the end of his career in a year or two, you know what I mean? Some players do go on until like 36, 37 sometimes, some players, as we all currently know. But yeah, I think it's time to recommend a change at Manchester United. Get Jose Mourinho out of the club, recommend a new man who can bring that stature, get us back competing and challenging for major honours, as we all know. But we're not the Manchester United we used to be, as we all currently know. We are not the Manchester United we used to be, but we are still a big, massive club with a big fan base, and Manchester United want to see their money's worthwhile. The performances have to step up. We've got to put more effort in his game as well, as I said. But what signing would you like at Manchester United? What central defender would you like? Toby Alderweireld. I said reservations about him being on the decline for the last 12 months. When he's playing well, he can be a world-class central defender. He is Premier League proven. I think he's lost the pace a little bit, Toby Alderweireld, but this could stir up suggestions now. that he could actually potentially make a move to Old Trafford in January. Man United would have to pay reportedly around £40 million. He has been a Manchester United priority target, as Toby Alderweireld. But for me, he's nowhere near the same. He's nowhere near on the same level as Koulibaly is Toby Alderweireld. Because he's got a few weaknesses, Toby Alderweireld. Tottenham still have options at the back with Davinson Sanchez, and then they've got Vertonghen as well at the back of Spurs. But Koulibaly for me would be the better player. But Toby Alderweireld said he can be good, when he's playing well. But I think, Koulibaly, in my opinion, he's got great pace, very, very strong, good defender, and his overall stats are very, very good. He's very, very good in the air. He's technically very, very good on the ball. Proven himself well with Napoli. Proven himself well in the Champions League. He had a good game against Liverpool, did Koulibaly. And Man United would have to pay a staggering £90 million sterling to get the pursuit of Koulibaly. The Napoli president, obviously, is not willing to do business, but I think, Napoli wouldn't want to lose one of their, key players. But obviously, if Man United are prepared to pay the 90 million or whatever, that Napoli rate him at and demand him at, then potentially I think he'd come to Old Trafford, would Koulibaly. And I think he'd dramatically improve us. He'd be the first major signing, top signing that we'd made in a while. If we did go on in January and get Koulibaly, he would fit the Manchester United agenda fantastically well. Toby Alderweireld, though, if we get Alderweireld, we get Alderweireld. But he's reportedly liked to tweet on social media with, Man United fans saying Man United should sign him, and other potential targets that Manchester United should sign as well. But attackively, we need a world-class striker. We need a prolific goal scorer. Lukaku's proven for it well in the Premier League, as he did at Everton and that, but he hasn't done it this season. As we all know, I think potential strikers we need is a player like Dybala, known for scoring goals, very, very good for Juventus. I'd have loved Aubameyang, great number 9. Did well, and he's done well at Arsenal. He's done well at Arsenal since he's come into the Premier League. Harry Kane, I'd love him, but obviously potentially we know that's not going to happen. But he won the Golden Boot, was it, quite a few years ago? Other strikers, I'd love Morata, instead of Lukaku at the time. It looked like we would get Morata. I'd have preferred Morata to Lukaku. I know Lukaku's more Premier League proven, but Morata's obviously a better player. He's just a better player. He's tenacious. His style of play is very, very good when he's on form. Morata, he's injured at the moment, of course, as we all know, as I've updated you on my previous video, so I would have preferred Morata. Who else? As a striker, would I have, who I'd want, United? Obviously, I'd love Salah, but we know we're never going to get him. That's the type of player we need, someone like a Salah or a bloody, Mane or Firmino or something like that, or a bloody Kane or a Aubameyang, That's the type of striker we want, because Lukaku isn't delivering the goods at Manchester United, as we all currently know. So we'll see what happens anyway. And the midfield, Matic, I think we still need a defensive midfielder. And I'd love Fabinho to come at the time. Nainggolan's a great Roma player. I'd have loved him because he's very, very competitive. He's Nainggolan. Who else? There's a lot of great midfielders out there. I'd take Ozil. I think Ozil's a great midfielder. Very well proven in the Premier League. He loves Mourinho. Ozil loves Mourinho as well. They've worked together in the past. Ozil's won a lot of individual awards. He's won a lot of individual awards, won quite a lot of honours, at the teams he's been at. And he's been at Schalke, Werder Bremen and Real Madrid, and now he's at Arsenal. He's been at Arsenal since 2013. Has really failed to adapt himself under Emre this season. He had a good start to this season, but recently he's been injured, back injury, and he's missed quite a few of Arsenal's games. And he is a good midfielder because he played attacking mid. You can put him out wide as well, Mesut Ozil. I think he's a good player. Some Man United fans wouldn't take him, Mesut Ozil. Reportedly, according to the press the other week, that the bookies actually favoured Man United to sign him. Obviously, we were linked to him last season, was it? He went on to sign a new contract with Arsenal worth £350,000 a week, as well. But Arsenal would recommend a fee if they are willing to sanction Mesut Ozil off. But as I said, I'd love him at United. But as I said, Arsenal have got a few players that are guaranteed to leave, such as Ramsey and Danny Welbeck, as we all know. And Welbeck's out for the season. But as I said, Arsenal look a so much better team under Emre. Needs a couple of windows, to get still a couple of players in there, but I think they're a very, very good side now, Arsenal under Emery. 22 games undefeated in all competitions. Best run for years that Arsenal have had, as I said. But yeah, I'd love Ozil United. So we are linked with a lot of potential transfer targets, as I currently said. So I'd like to know your opinions on this. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. You know, if you do consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all guys again very, very soon.